Hi, this is Jack again. Okay, I'm here to speak about why human beings were not allowed in the dimensions. Now you're probably going, but that's impossible because I've been in the dimensions. No, you have not. It is believed that apparently the dimensions is another mind consciousness mental state. It is not at all whatsoever. That experience, for instance, which astral travel and astral projection human beings experience, is a mind consciousness interdimensional shift, okay, which creates an alternate interdimensional reality enclosed around the being on earth, still not in the dimensions. And the spirits that are apparently contacted are actually of human beings already in their world, to which their images of earth is projected into this realm when they apparently astral travel and astral project themselves, and then they apparently experience spirits. No. Okay, so first let me explain to you why human beings have not been allowed within the dimensions. Okay, firstly, human beings have specific mind consciousness system placements in this world, okay, interdimensionally manifested in this world. If a human being would in any way whatsoever still of a mind consciousness system of this world enter the dimensions, in one moment they're able to fuck up the dimensions into its abyss completely. Why? Hear this out. In the dimensions there exists quantum space and time, okay? Understand that the placements are not put inside the dimensional beings, but there to keep the beings controlled. Because if the beings were to shift in any way or do anything out of control, they could influence dimensions in its entirety. Okay, so in other words, there has not been one human being, except this one, who has been in the dimensions and actually experienced the dimensions at all. Their experience in the dimensions, according to in the astral planes, and did you know astral planes didn't even exist in the dimensions? Please, astral planes exist as a mind consciousness alternate dimensional reality specifically designed for people who astral travel and astral project, so they can believe that they've been in heaven and actually moved around there in the astral planes, meeting beings, etc. And even the way beings are portrayed by beings who have apparently been to the astral planes and met spirits and dead people, etc., is not at all how the dimensions were. Not at all. There were no beings roaming free, just walking around freely in their own expression. It wasn't like that at all. When you died, you were either placed with that mind consciousness system in the center of your mind, so that to make sure that, you know, you're controlled, you don't have any alterations inside your expression that could influence the dimensions in its entirety. That's how the dimensions were set up by Anu in them. So, in other words, the same thing. I mean, don't worry. I mean, when this girl first came into the dimensions, it was clear, but then some emotional wobblies in Earth caused her to be able to change the dimensions in one singular moment. In one singular moment, just because of her application, she changed the dimensions in totality. Of course, we could change it back in one moment, it wasn't a problem, but hear me out. So therefore, I'm also covering many points here, and therefore there's only one portal. There will only be one portal. Why? Because God knows it's taken us already 2 years for us just to stabilize, in terms of having a stabilized foundation in the dimensions, to become, let's say, one of us, if you want to call it that. So, therefore, people, only one. It's how it is, and it's how it will remain, because it's going to take another 2 years to probably train one person to be able to experience themselves in the dimensions. Because it's not just you can go in and there you are. It doesn't work like that at all. You may not be of any mind. You may not be of any emotional and feeling bullshit. You may not be of this world to be able to enter it at all. So just understand that. It is extensive. So that's why I'm saying There has not been one human being ever allowed in the dimensions. So you can imagine why. Because if there were to actually be a human being in the dimensions, really, they would have actually seen what was going on. Has any person that has apparently astral traveled in the astral planes actually figured out what the hell is going on in the dimensions? No, they didn't. Otherwise, obviously, they would have stood up. Or if they maybe did found out, they just hid it and did not stand up and just left everything just to go on as it is. What are we doing here? We finally, in the dimensions, realized what we've all even allowed in the dimensions, our own enslavement, our own allowances and acceptances, and only now we were going, God, we probably have to do something to Earth, you know, because Earth is in a lot of trouble. We've never been here on Earth. Dimensional beings has never assisted mankind. Only after these past 2 years has it begun for the first time. So hear me when I say that there has not been one single human being in the dimensions, because if they were to go there while still being here on Earth and just projecting themselves and traveling and flying, they would influence the dimensions in its entirety. Just like that. And that's how it works. And of course, I suppose no one has ever known that before. So it's difficult in the dimensions, as you're able to imagine. It's not simple in the dimensions. And that's why we're saying, rather transcend yourself here than in the dimensions. Okay, so that's why human beings have never been allowed in the dimensions, and that's why people astral travel and project themselves is in a mind consciousness system reality of their own, designed and placed and pre-programmed already within their mind consciousness system. So it's literally you're in a virtual reality within a virtual reality when you astral travel and astral project. You're not in the dimensions whatsoever. And that I'm able to say with certainty, because it looks strange when people astral travel and astral project apparently. So it's like they're lying in their bed, here's their body, and there they go flying in their mind with this little tunnel loop thing, and apparently it is so vast. It looks fascinating dimensionally. Probably write about it as well. Get more specific, I'm just giving an overview now. So, okay, there is basically astral travel and astral projection exposed, and why human beings have never been allowed in the dimensions. You literally change in one moment if you're not in control of yourself, if you don't know who you are, and if you're not certain in your standing of yourself. So, when a being dies now, for instance, as well, they're first vacuumed, checked, clear. They clear themselves, of course. They go through their processes. When they're clear, they enter. Because we cannot allow any more influence unnecessary in the dimensions, because it's been allowed for too long. Anu did it the way, you know, suppressed the fucking person, suppressed the being, just with that mind consciousness system interdimensional implant. So that's what happened. That's how they controlled the dimensions when human beings died. They immediately placed in that placement in their mind center, so the being just submerged themselves. Okay, so that explains that. Thank you, this is Jack.